Hello everyone, welcome. This is our project proposal. It's called Knowing Colombia. It's related to the geography of Colombia. The approach we applied is task-based learning, and the general objective is that students will be able to identify some characteristics about the regions of our country. The general topic, as I told you before, is the geography of Colombia, and it's for fifth graders. Okay, to start, the class number one is going to be related to the regions and departments of Colombia. The objective of this class is students will be able to identify the regions of our country, keeping in mind the location of the departments. The strategy in this class is to develop gamified activities. So, to begin with the class, the idea is to do a brainstorm, asking students what departments they remember, and for doing so, there is an interactive activity done in learning apps with the Colombian maps with all its divisions. And then after, teachers and students are going to socialize the regions and the locations of the departments of Colombia. The materials required in this class, it is only the learning apps activities, and the expected outcome that we want from the students. The first is that the students identify the regions of our country, and secondly, that the students know the location of the departments in each region.
In the second class, the topic is mountain range. So in this class, the students will be able to identify the important mountain range and their characteristics in our country based on our reading comprehension. The activities that the students will develop in this class is first, students will read an article. The article is about the mountain range of Colombia, their characteristics, and most of the information that they need. After the reading, students will do a quiz in the tool Nearpod, specifically in the activity called Climbing Up the Mountain. In the slides, you can find the links for the materials, in this case the reading and the quiz. In this class, the students' expected outcome is students are expected to understand the reading about the mountain range of our country. Students are expected to identify the mountain range of our country, and finally, students are expected to know the location of the mountain range of Colombia. In the third class, the students will work on the topic rivers. During this class, the students will be able to locate the rivers in the specific region and department. During this class, the teacher will use the strategy cooperative learning, and the idea is that students work in groups. Each group will listen to a recording that describes where a non-Columbia river is located, keeping in mind that all the audios will be different for each group. After the listening, each group have to draw the river in the Colombian map, taking into account the description given before. And the last step is each group will choose a leader, and he or she has to explain the other groups how to locate the river in their own maps. Okay? During this class, the materials that teacher will use are the audios and the maps. Okay? As in the previous class, you can find the links in the slides. For this class, the expected outcome is students are expected to describe the location of the rivers, and students are expected to identify the most important Colombian rivers.
Okay, so the class 4 is called Wetlands, Volcanoes, Snowy Mountains, and Deserts. the learning objective in this case is students will be able to know the meaning of badlands, volcanoes, snowy mountains, and desert, identifying them in the Colombian map. So this is a vocabulary task in which students will identify the main words of every single ecosystem from badlands to deserts, and then they're going to watch a video related with the physics in Colombia, in which they are going to identify the places which are mentioned in the video. For instance, if appears Suma Pass Badland, they are going to identify them and they're going to say, "Teacher, I identify in the video the Suma Pass Badland." Okay, that's in order to ensure the vocabulary. Okay, and finally, the expected outcome. The first one is that the students will be are expected to know the definitions of badlands, volcanoes, snowy mountains, and deserts. And the second one is the students are expected to identify the badlands, volcanoes, snowy mountains, and deserts, and their location in our country, which will be very important for the final class, which is the fifth one. Okay, in the fifth one, the students are going to make a presentation. They're going to socialize all the knowledge during those 4 classes. They're going to summarize the information. They will be divided in 6 groups, and each group will be assigned to a region of Colombia. They have to talk about the previous knowledge, yes, as I mentioned before, yes, and also they are going to look for information about flora fauna in the chosen or in the assigned region. For instance, if the group number 1 have assigned a Caribbean region, they're going to talk about the previous aspects included the ecosystem, the badlands, the volcanoes, snowy mountains, the rivers, yes, of this region. Okay, and finally they are going to look for information about flora and fauna and explain it. They can use slides, they can use infographic, they can use, of course, posters in order to help them to explain the topic in the best way as possible. And finally, the expected outcome. Students are expected to know about the flora and fauna in Colombia, and students are expected to explain the information of each region in our country. So that's the main conclusion of our activity. We think is really accurate for the age and also for the level of the students. Okay, so if you have any comments, any question, you can do it on the Padlet in which we are going to upload this audio. Thank you so much to everyone.